Welcome to the Love Clarity Podcast, where you come to heal your relationship trauma and learn to love deeply without losing yourself. So I want to know what is written in the Life GPS. Are these sentences? Are they beginning with "I'm so grateful now that"? I don't know. Can you give us more? Give us everything
Sure.
we need to begin.
Well, essentially, two things. I have an AI algorithm that I created where if your audience wants to do this, they have to buy the book. I want them to learn the science.
Yeah.
And then I give them access to the AI algorithm. And all they got to do is answer 50 questions, press a button, 10 seconds later, the template is customized to your life. Very smooth and seamless for applying this to somebody's life. And so, but here's what the template sort of looks like. There's 5 areas of the template. Yourself, your health, your romantic relationship, your spirituality, and your career. And so on the front page are those 5 areas of your life, the ideal you in those 5 areas of your life. Then on the back is those same 5 areas, but the improvements you want to make in your life in each area, as well as your goals. Like you'll have a goal for your career, a goal for your romantic relationship, a goal for your health. And you're now living your life quarter by quarter. And like for each goal, you'll have, here is the goal, here's the why behind the goal, here's the 4 or 5 key behaviors associated with the goal, and here's the time frame and measurement. Time frame is always the end of the quarter. And so that's sort of how it works. And you will see you're affirming 50, 60 things in the various areas of your life. In the example I gave you, being flexible, patient, and thoughtful is just one of the 50 or 60 things. But you can see if you're doing that 50 or 60 times over and you're doing it every day, every month, every year, you're just playing the game of life at a higher level. You just got this level of control that other people don't have. And one thing I would say about this that I think is significant, I am so honored to teach this at the University of Texas's business school, and most people don't sort of realize this, but it's ranked one of the top 5 business schools in the country according to U.S. News and World Report. So it's right up there with Harvard and Stanford. And to get it approved at the University of Texas took me over 2 years. And so I think that's significant for your audience because this is not another get-rich-quick scheme. It's been vetted at the very highest level. And so I think that's significant.
It is significant, and especially the way you speak about it. All of the people who are working with me, whether it's one-on-one in the school or in the Love Clarity Inner Circle, we're all working to be in a situation where our emotions are not controlling us, that we are the ones controlling our emotions. And when you gave us that example, that visceral example of you waiting for your meal, I could tell, like you are training the monkey. You're like, no, I'm not going to let this unconscious mind decide my destiny. I'm taking matters into my own hands. I love the AI tool. Is this like a prompt, John, that you're going to give us, like a prompt, the AI tool that you have for us to create this Life GPS?
Well, all you have to do is basically go to, I have a website called themissingsecret.org, and I have got a 9-minute video that I did just for you and your audience, and just watch the video. It's free. It'll explain the full secret. It'll show the template, and then if you like it, you can buy my book.
Yeah.
But one thing I would suggest is if you're up for it, I want you to have the same epiphany that I had at 50. And let's go just a little deeper. You up
I'm
for
so
that?
ready for it. Let's go. Let's go. I'm at the
Okay,
right
girl.
age, in the right moment. We're all set. Let's launch.
Okay. So here's my question to you. In your life, how many epiphanies have you had where you learned something from somebody else that radically changed your life? How many times has that happened?
That's happened at least about 3 or 4 times.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's reasonable. In my life, I've had it happen 4 times,
Okay.
and one of those times obviously was learning the secret and Think and Grow Rich. And so here is the epiphany I want you to get, but I'm going to work you through this a little bit.
Good.
So the epiphany is that 95% of my daily actions are unconscious. They're in the moment, they're reactive, and they're on autopilot. And so because of that, they are unconscious. And just appreciate the profound significance of that. Your daily actions determine your success in life. And the fact that they are unconscious means that your conscious mind intelligence and intellect is not controlling those daily actions. And yet they're the very thing that determines your success. Therefore, you have to gain control over those unconscious daily actions. So that's the epiphany. And so my question to you is, do you believe that 95% of your daily actions are unconscious?
I can believe that. I feel that it's not something that's unbelievable to me.
Okay.
Can.
Okay. So how sure are you of that?
I'm pretty sure because I have seen my life go awry when I was on autopilot. So,
Okay.
and I have been able to train parts of my mind with discipline to be able to switch that.
Okay. So what are you doing about it?
What I'm doing about it is the affirmations that you're talking about, but also keeping a routine and pausing to become conscious.
Okay. Well, for some people, a lot of people, this is new information. They never heard that 95% of their daily actions are unconscious. And I want to show you something cool using ChatGPT, because I do not want this to be just another statistic that goes in people's heads and out the other side. And so watch this. If I can get G, are you there?
Absolutely. I'm here, John. Just let me know what's on your mind and we'll dive right in.
Okay, so I've got a question for you. I understand that 95% of a person's daily actions are unconscious. Is that really true? Is it really 95%?
Yeah, that's a pretty well cited figure, actually. A lot of cognitive and neuroscience research does suggest that a huge chunk of our daily behavior is kind of running on autopilot, so to speak. That 95% figure is definitely in the ballpark of what a lot of experts talk about. So you're on the right track with that understanding.
So just think about the significance of that. I mean, once you get this, your life is never the same. Once you get the significance of that, and so just think about this. Like in your life, Sonia, tell me your morning routine. What are you doing every morning?
I wake up and then I do a prayer, and then I have a notebook in which I write a little letter to the divine. And usually it begins with gratitude. And then afterwards, I will write down my affirmations, then I will read them, then I'll say them out loud, and then I will imagine them.
So tell me about those affirmations. How many are they?
So at the moment, I think I've got about 6 of them.
Okay. Well, let me just say that what you're doing something that 99% of people don't do. I mean, what you're doing is excellent, but it's not as good as it could be.
Oh,
And
yeah.
here-
That's what I'm here for. Give me the juice. I want everything.
And you know, and I'm not just saying this, that what you're doing is way better than the vast majority of people. But the problem is your intelligence and intellect, which is your greatest asset, is not controlling your daily actions. Now, affirming those affirmations is good, but the power is when you articulate the succinct articulation of your life, and you're describing, here's the person I am, here's what I want to accomplish, and here's how I'm going to achieve my goals. It's moving those affirmations to being very relevant to your life. And the subconscious mind only responds to things that are specific. And so when you feed those specific actions to yourself, and it's in the context of your life, then at exactly the right moment, just like in my example where that first hint of impatience showed up, then magically the right thought bubbled up from my subconscious mind to my conscious mind to take control of being patient. And you can imagine in your life, there would be 50 things you're affirming yourself instead of just 6. And you would be able to gain control over all those daily actions. And so I'm sort of curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate like your health?
I would rate it about between 7 and 8, depending on how I did.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay. So your career, how would you rate your career?
I would say that it's about there. Maybe it's 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how would you rate your marriage?
Marriage is pretty good. Marriage is something that I've worked on. So it would be as close to 10 as possible without the perfection of 10.
Right. Okay. So are you happy with those results?
I wouldn't be here if I wasn't up for more.
Okay. I buy that. Well, you see that the more happens by putting your greatest asset, your intelligence and intellect, in control of your actions. It's so simple. And so as we sort of wrap up, you getting this epiphany, you see, I'm giving you the way to do it, to go to that next level, and it just takes 12 minutes a day.
Amazing.
And so the point I want to, you now get the epiphany, I think, right?
Yes, I get the epiphany. And then I want to know what's happening. Are there, for example, I said I have about 6 affirmations. Are you saying that you have about 50?
Yeah.
So how do you train yourself to have emotion for all of them? Do you write them in a way that evoke emotion?
Right. And I have a technique that evokes emotion. Mm-hmm. And just, I don't know if here's something just to think about.
Yeah.
And before I share this with you, the point I want to make to your audience is I want the epiphany for you to be my 95% of my daily actions are unconscious, and that's what's controlling my success. And by God, I got to gain control over my unconscious daily actions. And this 12-minute-a-day technique is how you do it. So that's the epiphany I want your audience to get, that I know you have now gotten. But here's the other thing that you'll find fascinating. And it took me a long time to understand this. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I thought, I'm going to show what I created to the top expert in the world on success, whoever he or she might be. because I want to see if there's anything similar to it or if there's any flaws to it. And so I decide that Darren Hardy is that guy. And so I write a big check and I fly out to La Jolla, California. I bring Ginger with me. And the moment comes and I show him my template and explain how it works. And he looks at it and goes, John, this is really good. But he says, people are not going to spend 12 minutes a day on this. And I'm like, well, how can that be? It's 25x my income. My methodology, how it works was profiled in Time magazine. And we're applying the central concept of the top book of the world on success to people's lives. I mean, what do you mean they're not going to spend 12 minutes a day on it? And he sort of kicks back in his chair and he smiles and he goes, John, I've been in the success business a long time, and more success for most people is merely a preference. Merely a preference. And he says, that is 98% of the people. And they're not going to spend that 12 minutes a day. This is only for the 2% that are serious about success. And Sonia, that was so life-altering for me, because prior to that, I thought, well, everybody wants to be more successful, and so everybody's going to want to do my methodology. But I was unenlightened because I was looking at the world like everybody's me, which is everybody's sort of natural tendency. And once he opened my eyes to that, what ended up happening was I'm like, okay, I get it. I've been wrong in thinking it's for everybody. And I went and started finding entrepreneurs who were like me, who were making 200 grand a year, wanting to go to $1 million a year. And I would lure them into my program by giving them a money back guarantee. Now they had to be making 200 grand a year minimum, but I would charge them like $20,000, teach them the methodology over 6 weeks, and I'd coach them. And if I couldn't double their income within a year, I'd give them their money back. And so the end result was over like 3 years, they'd get a 35 to 40 to 1 return on their money with a money back guarantee. And I never had to give people their monies back. That it always worked. I documented it by filming the results. And I did that for about a year and a half. But then I realized how unleveraged that was. And that was really the impetus for doing my book, so that I could give it to more of the world and be way more leveraged. And so, but that was totally enlightening to me. So I say that to your audience, that if more success is merely a preference, this is not for you. Don't even bother doing it.
Absolutely. And I have to say, John, you got such a high result with those people that you had in your program. If I were to say to you, because you charged them $20,000, if I were to say to you that is the reason you got such a high success, because you had a collection of people who put out an uncomfortable amount of income.
Right.
And they made some promises that this is gonna work out for me. I'm gonna do everything that it takes. That I suddenly have 12 minutes that I didn't have before.
Well, yes, that is true. When they pay attention.
Yes.
And that is true. But I promise you, every one of them had to think, there is no way this guy is going to double my income in a year.
Yeah, but there's a part of all of us that believes in that magic too. And I do appreciate you writing this book, and I'm doing the same to get this out and leverage it in this way, because I want it to be available for the person who is putting money together just to buy your book. I want it to be available for that, because it's almost like it's an experiment that's sitting in the universe. And I have played, and I'm going to say it that way, with manifestation all my life. And I think most of what I have is through that. Whether
Right.
it's my marriage, the homes I will have, anything, something that happens with my children. It's just such a fun game. And sometimes I think of it this way, and I have more questions for you, John. Just if you thought that you're done with me,
Sure.
is that one of the reasons I call it that is because I can be very like, oh my God, now I've already imagined it. I've been working on it. Like that needy, like grimy type of a sticky finger type of thing. Whereas one of the requirements is to surrender. Is this something that you understand as well? And how do you work with people who have only done about 10 days, 22 days, because this has to stick. This has to be a part, your programming, your unconscious mind. What are you going to say to people who are, worried that they're not going to get it, or, they get something better, because that is what a manifestation does, this or something better for the highest good. So, how is your response to all this?
Yeah, that is a great question. And it's funny. So I just finished my class at the University of Texas, gave them the final exam last Thursday. So I've been having to grade 40 final exams over the last, few days. And so we're having the big Christmas party tonight in like 2 hours from right now. And so I'm going to have all of them, not all of them, but most of them at my house. And we're going to have a party. But there's going to be a point in the party where I'm going to sit them down and go, okay, kids, I've been looking at your final exams, and they tell me the struggle they have to do this. And some of them struggle more than others. And one of the things that I will tell them is, if you don't do this every day, you're sending a message to your subconscious mind that this doesn't really matter. And of course I also tell them, come on, and like I was saying, so many of them have the feeling of not enough, not good enough. And I'm like, that's a lousy way to live. You don't have to live that way. A lot of them are dealing with anxiety and stress. And of course, us in the real world think, wait until you get into the real world, kids, right?
Yeah.
We think if they're in college, it's all peaches and cream. Well, it's not. They're stressed, and I'm like, I am teaching you a way to do life that will radically change your life. And thank God they get it. They really do get it. But that doesn't mean they don't struggle with doing it consistently. And the thing I have to stress to them is that you got to do it the first thing in the morning, because if you don't, other things will come up. And if you don't do it every day, your subconscious mind goes, oh, not that important. But all you got to do it is 21 days. And of course, you're reading the succinct articulation of your desired life. So how tough is that? I mean, now with the ones that are really doing it, they're like, I can't wait to get up and read it. Are you kidding me? I'm not missing a day. This is the highlight of my day, the first thing I do. And so I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. And my question also is about impatience, because I'm expecting these young people to be impatient too. So how are they, it's been 30 minutes, John, like it hasn't happened for me yet, kind of thing. And,
right.
And what about, is it true? Because I'm saying that this is what I understand about manifestation. And I want to ask you, since you've made a life out of it. I was going to say career, but I want to say life. And, that you are not to get stuck on it. Like you can't have this sort of like sticky type of energy, that there is a surrender, that you speak it out into the universe and inside you, and then you don't have this sort of like, oh, like I'm going to get it. So is there an element to that you speak of?
Absolutely. It's like the book, The Secret. You remember The Secret?
Yes, I do.
In large part, I think that was misguided, because it basically said, imagine whatever you want and it will come to you. That is not right. That is not how the law of attraction really works.
Yes.
You've got to envision what you want, but more importantly, how are you going to get it? And in my methodology, you're feeding exactly what you want, but how are you going to get it? And what happens is, in my template, you're changing it as your understanding of your life gets clearer and clearer. And you can imagine, if you're feeding this to yourself every day, you're going down the rabbit hole of understanding each area of your life deeper and deeper. And when you see little nuances, you go in and change the template. Like, I change mine once a week because I'm just seeing something deeper in my life that if I say it just a little different, it'll have more impact. And I also tell people that this works on everyone. If you're human, it works. It cannot work. It has to work. Now, it doesn't work if you don't do it, but it's pure science. And a lot of my methodology is fully supported by Dr. Andrew Huberman of Stanford. I don't know if you are familiar with his work.
I mean, who hasn't heard of Andrew Huberman? Yes.
Right. Well, I think that too. And he talks about focused self-talk and how you transform your identity, and your actions reflect your identity. And he's done the actual scientific analysis of the impact of the brain on feeding this, and he's brilliant. And he, more than anybody, is the science behind my methodology.
Yeah. And, I was just going to say that, I'm also a spiritual psychologist. So, I feel that I don't think you're stressing as much on this thing that I stress on, which is that you can't have that sticky thing on it, that you just say it out into the universe and you let it go. And the way I want to just say it out the way you're saying it, you're saying, I don't care who you are. You do the and you get it. Like, I don't even think that you put that in the equation. You're like, anybody can do it. It's a science. Just keep doing it. Do it every day. And that's it.
Right. I think that's true.
Okay.
And I would say this, as I look back at my life, I see that you got to have something that gives you an advantage in life, an edge in life. I didn't get this until I was 50. So I didn't get that edge. And that's what I was telling my students and really your audience. This gives you an edge, an advantage over everybody else in life. Now, again, this is just my life experience that I couldn't have the exceptional life. I was relegated to the average life until I got this edge. But I think that's something really worth thinking about, that you got to have something that gives you an edge.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that this became your edge, but other people can use this to create their own edge?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And because I see that people struggle with life, and I'll share maybe a final story, although I'm open to talk about this as long as you want. But here's something for your audience to think about. So I became a grandfather for the first time about 5 years ago. So I coerced my stepdaughter to name the new baby after Ginger. And so we call her baby Genevieve. And so the day after baby Genevieve was born, we go over to Hannah's house. And of course, Sonia, there was a lot of oohing and awing about the baby. And they hand me the baby and they walk away. And so I'm holding this precious little girl close to my chest. I feel the warmth of her body, and tears start flowing through my eyes and down my cheeks. And I'm just appreciating how precious life is. And I'm thinking she's going to live to be 100 years old. And the quality of her life and the impact she has in life is going to come down to simply the thoughts going on in her head. And most people don't realize they can dramatically impact the thoughts going on in their head. So I am going to, by God, make sure she has the proper thoughts going on in her head. And so the point of that story for your audience is that your life is precious. Your life is precious. And when you put your head on the pillow tonight, just think, if the next 5 years are like the last 5 years, will you be satisfied with that? And if you're not, stop winging life. You've now learned something that just takes 12 minutes a day to create the life you desire. And so embrace it.
I love it. I love it. John, I have one more question from you that you promised. So I haven't forgotten that you were going to tell us. How do you said, I know I have a trick for how do you evoke emotion? Because emotion, my understanding is the vehicle that this whole thing rides on.
Right. Well, a couple of ways. Once you see the template, there are certain things that you say out loud, and there are a lot of it that you can read. And you can actually read or listen to your template, whatever your preference is. And you can listen to it in your own voice. I have a methodology for doing that. So either one is okay. But actually, I think reading it is a little better. And like the way we dial in emotion is, again, there's certain parts of the template where you read it out loud. And oftentimes I will repeat the key word twice. As an example, in the story I told about Darren Hardy, I said, he says, merely a preference. Merely a preference. You see how when you say the same word twice, you can give it a punch that doesn't come through the first time you say it. And so that's how we juice the emotion.
Yeah, double click it. Okay, I got it. This is good. I like that. This is very good. And I can't wait to get my hands on your book. I hope everybody who's listening is going to buy it. And I hope, John, that you'll come to one of my classes where I'm teaching this, and you'll speak to my people so that they can ask you their questions.
Well, you're such a ideal person to do this, and I love, like I said, I love what you're doing. And the thing that I think your audience needs to appreciate is that the top book in the world on success says the key to success is simply creating immense clarity, just like you do, and feeding that clarity to yourself every day. It's no more complicated than that. And I realize that anything that is profound has to be simple. It can't be complex. And so that's the power of this. And I think that what you're doing is so aligned with what I'm doing.
I so agree with you, and I'm so grateful to meet you. Would you tell us everything we need to know about how to find you, how to, sort of like stalk you, and and then also how do we get your book? Because we all want that prompt that you're mentioning.
Right. So go to themissingsecret.org, themissingsecret.org, and you'll see the option to get the free video, and then go buy the book. And I want you to learn the science before you download the template. So I want you to read the book. It's basically an easy read, and you'll see it's surprisingly easy to do, and it's really the alternative to just winging life, I think.
Amazing. John, you can tell how much I enjoyed your company, having you here. And you're such a resource for so many people who are stuck in lives that they don't appreciate. So I'm hoping that all of us will learn from this and multiply our income by 25% at least, you said.
Well,
25 times.
can I say one thing about
Yeah.
you that I find interesting?
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to hear that. Yes, go for
So
it.
I did a podcast. Maybe it's Monday, and so like I was telling you before we went on, I want the podcast host to have the same epiphany that I had, and so as I was working you through that, I'm like, she's enlightened. I don't know what her morning routine is, but then you tell me your morning routine, and it's like way better than the vast majority of people. Yet even your results were not fully what you wanted them to. Well, when I was doing this with the host on Monday, I go, so rate your health a 3. Then I go, well, rate your career. And this guy was a CPA. He goes, well, 7. And then I go, okay, the tough one, rate your marriage a 2.
Oh man, that's not good.
And my first reaction was, thank you for being so candid. I really admired him for being so candid.
Yes.
And then I'm like, whoa, man, you got to fix this. And I think the problem with a lot of people is they're never step back from their life to figure out how to control their life. And so that's why I admire what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, John, that absolutely everything, like literally, I'm saying these words to you, absolutely everything that's on my manifestations, it always happens. The only thing is that I love about what you are describing is that I didn't have these categories.
Right.
So you have this whole, you cover everything. And, my question to myself is like, why not?
Well, and one of the things I find interesting is to the vast majority of people, this is all new stuff. But I have seen with some very brilliant people, when they come into my world, they're doing something similar. And now on a scale of 1 to 10, they may be at a 1 or a 2, and this is hopefully at a 9 or a 10. I think it's at a 10, but they were already onto this. Oh, I got to be. And in fact, this is how Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich. Right. It was sponsored by Andrew Carnegie, and he saw that all his rich friends were doing something that made them successful. And what that thing was they were defining their goals and how they were going to get their goals, and they were feeding that to themselves each day. And so that was the genesis of the book. But I see that really sharp people that come into my world oftentimes are already sort of on the path, but I'm just taking them to that next level. And I think you fall in that category. I can take your affirmations and take it to that next level.
Yes. And I love that you have an AI tool for it. It's amazing. I'm so excited to get my hands on it and to try it. And I hope everybody else feels the same way. John, thank you for being so generous with your time, with everything that you shared with yourself. I love how deeply and beautifully you've shared. And I feel like after listening to you just in this conversation, I got it. I'm going to get the book. I'm going to do the whole thing because I don't want to miss anything. However, thank you for being so generous with all of us here today.
My pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful.